everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Banterly, a Gen Z podcast about pop culture, media, and everything in between. I am Aidan.
And I'm Aditi. And this is a different type of episode of Banterly. We're going to be talking about ourselves, which we already do a lot of, I think, but it's only going to be that. So you're in for a treat.
Yeah, it'll be special. I'm excited. It's like an interview of sorts. You're going to hear the deepest, darkest parts of ourselves that you don't get because, believe it or not, we have lives outside of this podcast, but it's still a highlight of my week.
Absolutely.
Should we dive into some questions?
Let's dive in. So, Aidan, what is something that you want everyone to know about you?
Well, I guess I'll phrase this as a fun fact of sorts. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I don't think I have. I was a child actor in the sense that I was in one commercial when I was little. I wanted to be an actor really bad. And my parents got me some like local St. Louis agency to like go on auditions. So I had like a headshot and a resume, which I still have copies of them not far from where I am. Maybe I'll send in a picture for socials, but had this resume, would go on auditions after school around St. Louis. You know, what exactly is filming in St. Louis? I don't know, but I auditioned for like the St. Louis Art Museum was doing a commercial, random things here and there. And I booked a gig, you guys. I booked an international commercial for Zuzu Pets.
It's a zoo versus Zuzu Pets. Zuzu Pets are so much fun because they're always on the run. They have lots of different names. They're not all the same. Hidden into each design is a super secret sign about their personality.
I don't know if you guys remember those cute little hamster toys. You would press the button and they would run. And then...
Oh my gosh, yeah. I used to love those.
Yeah. So I was in the commercial for those. In St. Louis, actually, I think. Yeah, I didn't travel. It was definitely in St. Louis. Only took a day. I was in third grade. Took the day off of school. Was in the studio recording this commercial with 7 other kids my age. And we were just playing with Zuzu Pets on a table in this set. And it was really hot. I remember having fun in the green room with everybody, like had a parent with them, obviously, because we were in third grade. So you needed a guardian. And it was just fun. And then I remember the first time that I saw myself on TV was I was watching Scooby-Doo on Nickelodeon. And then during the breaks, I was like, oh my God, that's me. And then I remember going to school the next day and someone came up to me and was like, oh my God, Aidan, I saw you while watching Scooby-Doo. And it was crazy. And then my friend she's part Mexican and she was in Mexico for the summer and saw me on the TV. So that's why I say international, because I don't know where else it was. But yeah, it was really fun. I never booked anything else, but it's like a fun fact to be, and it's still on YouTube. So you can Google it, see me. I look very young and my afro's big, but it is it was fun. It was fun. I mentioned that I did theater a lot, but that was booked and busy. Like I had a gig and I will talk about that forever.
That's amazing.
I'm surprised I haven't talked about it until now. That's me. What is something that you would like everybody to know about you?
I was part of the organizing committee for the Barnard RA Union. I don't know, I just started to become really passionate about undergraduate workers and how they're very much taken advantage of at all these institutions. And Tufts was the first college to unionize their RAs, and Columbia next door was starting talks about organizing. So we were being very mistreated. We were misinformed about whether we were going to get meal plans as part of our summer RA compensation, which we weren't told we weren't going to get meal plans until we accepted the job, which was crazy. And there were just like so many other like communication things where we were very much spoken down to by a lot of the people in like the administration and in res life in general. And so we unionized. It was a long struggle. Barnard won their contract, and now there's like a huge wave of RA unions across the country, which is extremely exciting to see. But yeah, it's crazy because I feel like I randomly found a new passion of mine. I think all workers should be unionized generally. So that's something I want people to know about myself. Pro-union.
As you should. I feel like I'm in the inner circle because I did know that story from seeing your comedy show at the Pit a couple months ago, and I learned so much. So thank you for sharing. What do you enjoy doing the most outside of hosting this podcast?
Sketch comedy was another passion that I found in college. Like, again, it was nothing that I ever thought of doing before. It was always something that was like, oh, that's what people on SNL do. Like, normal people don't do that, like mere citizens like me. Just because I feel like my high school didn't really have a lot of exposure to that world. Whereas once I got to college, I realized that so many people around me like grew up doing improv and sketch comedy and all that stuff. Like we had musical theater, so I was like familiar with that, but I didn't know that comedy was an option like to just do, which was a fun thing to learn and then eventually fall in love with. What about you? What do you enjoy doing the most?
I always get asked, I feel like, oh, what are your hobbies? What are your interests? I never know what to say. Like, I love eating out at restaurants and going out dancing. But since January, I have been doing, I've talked about this before, but hip hop classes every week at Alvin Ailey, which has been really fun to like get back in the groove of pop and lock and jam. But I've also been doing Pure Bar, which I've never been really one for like organized workout, like taking a class. I normally would just like go to NYU's gym or like do a Peloton thing from my room or something like that. But it's so hard. And it's so, I feel like I've gotten so much stronger since starting. It's really good. It's really hard. And I look forward to it every week. And so that's been something that I've like trying to get a little bit of routine, you know, organizing your adult life and not just working and that, but having some outside fun structure. So 10 out of 10 would recommend Pure Bar if you have not tried.
Yeah, I recently started working out because I similarly was like, okay, I'm an adult and I need to act like one. I need someone to tell me precisely what to do at all times.
Exactly.
So I do appreciate that. I've never done a Pure Bar class. I'm nervous about doing things in front of other people because it feels embarrassing because I'm not good at anything physically. I don't know how to move my body. It's a fun fact about me. I'm confused about it. I wish I could dance. That's one of the things where I'm like in my head, I can imagine myself like being so cool and dancing to songs in a really great way.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know how to move at all. I had a big phase of like learning TikTok dances and I was like, I'm a dancer in like 2020. So that was my first exposure to dancing. And I need to get rid of all of those videos now.
You should try out some beginner dance classes because that's all I do. Because everybody is all sorts of levels and all sorts of amounts of rhythm in the room. So it's not like people are like, oh my God, like, can you like, no,
right.
It's just and even Pure Bar too, like it's very supportive.
All right, well, let's talk more about the podcast. What has your experience been like hosting so far?
I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought that the thought of hearing my voice on a platform where people could just go and listen to it would be really hard because I don't like the way that my talking voice sounds. But it's been really, I don't want to say therapeutic, but it's been better for me to listen to myself because I don't think my voice is that annoying anymore. So I'm really happy about that side of it. But I also love talking about it and talking about it once my friends listen to it, when my parents listen to it. I feel like everybody gets, you know, like you're different with your parents than you are with your friends, than you are with your siblings, than you are with little parts of you come out in different ways. But this is more of I don't want to say this is the real me because it's still a different part of me, but maybe it's a part of me that my friend doesn't hear, or that my dad doesn't hear, or that my brother, if he listens to this, I don't know if he does, but he doesn't hear. So it allows not only me to enjoy it, but the people that love me also get to learn more about me and enjoy it. So, and it's fun to talk about my favorite shows and movies and make people giggle. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I also feel weird about listening to myself. I like, even whenever I perform and I have a recording of myself, like it takes me like a week to be able to sit down and watch myself. I would love to say that this made me feel better about it, but I think it's something that I just generally struggle with, which is crazy because I do really like performing and talking on this podcast. It's hard for me to watch myself, and that's really fun. But I love to be able to like talk about movies and TV shows and pop culture in this way. Like, it's something I talk about a lot with my friends, but we do it in such depth that, like, especially after the Oppenheimer episode, like my friends and I just talked about the episode. Oh, I love when you talked about this specific thing. Like, I didn't think about that before. And like, it's been a super fun addition to my life and my friendships, which is so cool.
I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, I haven't seen that. But now I watched it because of this show. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed. Have you received any feedback like that about the podcast, people taking our recommendations, anything along those lines?
People are definitely like, oh, like you have an episode on whatever. Like, I should watch that now, like before I listen to the podcast, which is super fun. Like, we're encouraging people, I think, to watch a lot of new things. Even I have watched new things that I otherwise maybe wouldn't have, or, you know, it gave me the push to finally watch something that's been on my list.
A lot of the things that we talk about, I would have never watched if it wasn't for this, including Oppenheimer. I don't think I would have ever gotten to that 3-hour movie if I didn't have to.
Yeah.
Past Lives as well, I don't think I would have watched.
Me neither. That's the one I was thinking about when I said that. Yeah.
I also would have never watched Love Island, like episodes through. That would have never happened. Oh, that comedy episode, I would have never watched anything about Dave Chappelle or Bo Burnham. I would have never, ever delved into that. Most of the things that we talk about, I would have never watched unless it's like the Glee Heartstopper I tried. And I would have watched that on my own because I did try. But yeah, it's been nice to broaden my horizons. And even the music episode, like after we did that, listening to underscores after that and like the music, I was just like, oh, like I would have never even known about this, but I've broadened my horizons through this, and it's been really, really nice.
I love that. That makes me so happy that you listen to underscores. That, if I could talk about anything more on this podcast, it would be her. I could talk about her for hours, and I won't, and I'll save all of you the trouble of that because my friends deal with that already. I love that this has broadened my horizons, and hopefully it has for our audience as well. So let's do a rapid fire session.
Ooh, rapid fire. New York City recommendations?
Yeah, let's do that. Your favorite New York City restaurant?
The Commerce Inn, West Village, easy peasy. You?
Temple Canteen, Flushing, South Indian. Favorite New York City park?
Hudson River Park in the West Village area, like Christopher Street, the piers over there. I used to love running there. Any park on the west side, Riverside Park, or the other one downtown is A+. How about you?
Not sure if this counts as a park. My favorite place in New York is the Seaport District. So being by the piers and the water there,
yes,
it's my favorite.
That counts.
Okay.
It's outdoor space.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Favorite subway station?
Least favorite? I have so much disdain for the West 4th Street station.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Honestly, I've had very good luck at the 125th ACBD.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty clean, and I never have to wait there. I don't really experience too many delays there because it's like the express, and it takes me where I need to go very quickly.
Yeah.
So, and it's not far from where I live. It's a nice, easy walk, and How about you?
I don't know that I have a favorite station, but my favorite line is definitely the 2-3, like the 1-2-3. I'm partial because the one train was the train for Columbia. So I like anything on that line. Do you have like a favorite museum or gallery?
The Whitney Museum. I don't really love art museums, but I love that one is, you can do it all in a few hours. It's easily digestible, and the rooftop is super pretty.
Mine is the Met. It's a classic. You can go so many times and you still will not have seen everything, which is so cool. Okay, thrift shop.
Thrift shop. Okay, this isn't like thrift prices, but Tokyo 7 on East 7th Street in the East Village has the best designer stuff for a fraction of the price. Like, I'm talking tags still on for 70% off of retail price. And I've been in my era of not going to Zara and Urban Outfitters and getting a million things, and instead of investing in one nice piece every month or so. So it lasts longer, and I've had the best luck at Tokyo 7, and there's so many options, and there's also not just designer stuff, there's also stuff all different price ranges, and yeah, it's a very cool spot. How about you?
That. L Train Vintage. Classic.
I love it. It's right around the corner from L Train. I find myself in East Village L Train all the time. That was a favorite, a hot spot for me in college.
I love it. Okay, music venue.
I haven't been to that many concerts in New York, but I really enjoyed seeing Natasha Bedingfield at Webster Hall, and it was right by my freshman dorm. I don't know if that's like a basic answer, but Webster Hall.
That's a good place. I like Baby's All Right in Brooklyn. It's a very intimate venue. You can see a lot of up-and-coming artists there. I've seen several people, including Underscores, at Baby's All Right. I think I've seen her there. Maybe. I've seen her like 6 times. I can't keep track, but big fan of Baby's All Right. Favorite place to go out?
Also easy one. Playhouse in the West Village is my all-time favorite place. I went there on Friday night, and I ran into a guy I used to work with, which was great seeing. And I also met Allie and AJ there one night, which was like peak.
What?
I know, they were there in the corner. It was lit. If you haven't been, drag queens come out and perform every 30 minutes or so. And a drag queen came out and was like, all you 90s kids, like, we have some Disney stars in the room. And I thought it was going to be 2 drag queens coming out dressed as Disney stars. But no, Allie and AJ were just there sitting at like the bar. And so everyone was like, oh my God. And then I like squeezed my way up, and and I was like, excuse me, like, I just wanted to introduce myself. I love your music now, and I loved you back then. And I shook their hands, and they were so sweet. So cool things happen at Playhouse.
That's so cool. I love that so much. I mentioned in our music episode that I'm really into a handful of DJs, and Elsewhere is my favorite spot for that. So
my brother just went to do you know who Donna Missile is?
No, I don't.
He went to a concert there at Elsewhere. I've never been to Elsewhere. I've always wanted to go, but he was like, I'm going to Elsewhere. I was like, oh my gosh, you're so cool. Like, you came into New York for the weekend, you're going to Elsewhere to see a concert by a musician. Like, look at you.
That's so funny. That is so funny. Yeah, it's a good spot, and they have a rooftop over the summer. So I think that's definitely going to be a spot.
Catch me there over the summer.
All right. I think that's all of them.
Yeah, that was fun. I have a new list of places to try now. And I hope you all listening do too.
Well, we hope you liked this episode. It was a bit different from our usual ones, but I don't know. I love to talk about myself. I'm a Leo, as I've mentioned. So it was fun to say more about me.
And I had fun too. I hope you learned something about me, and maybe you all can go to YouTube and search Zuzu Pet Commercials June 2010. And the thumbnail is me in the middle with my big afro pointing. So you can't miss it.
That's huge. Miss it. I can't wait. I'm gonna look that up right after this.
Banterly is produced by Shay Yu, written by us, the co-host Aditi Misra and Aidan Taylor. The executive producer and editorial review is done by Sadia Khan.
The Banterly theme music is by Simon Hutchinson. Additional music is by Epidemic Sound.
See y'all next week.